Welcome back, guys, to a catch-up episode of Comic Corner. It's going to be, the official 24.
Yeah.
But we were missing last week, with the holidays and everything, and how life kind of gets in the way.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys don't know what Comic Corner is. It's just me and him. We're fans of comics, so we bring you about a little bit of everything, news, the stuff that we read, and then we try to sell you back on a trade back. And usually the stuff we read is the stuff that we pick up the week before, right? And then we try to tell you, hey man, this was good, give our opinions and little reviews of it. Then at the end, he gives you a list that comes out of the comics that come out tomorrow. Like I said, we were gone for a week, so we're going to mix match only this week of comics from last week and this week. But first off, we're going to start you with some news, and I'm going to start with a show that's coming out. I know he's a fan of this show. He doesn't watch much TV, but, I think he might actually just give this a little watch, and it's Grant Morrison's Happy.
Yeah.
Tell people a little bit about Happy the trade back or the comic.
Well, the comic
was it a comic or a trade back?
It was a comic. It was a comic? I think it was 4 issues is what it was. It was Grant Morrison and I want to say Cameron Stewart's on art. You might want to double check that. But basically the whole story is there is a kind of dishonorable cop, and he's now doing private eye work, and there is an accident in which he almost dies. When he comes back, he sees a little imaginary flying unicorn.
It's a chibi anime thing.
Yeah.
And it's cute as fuck.
And basically what it is it's tied to his child. He does have a kid that he doesn't see very often because he's divorced, that kind of thing. He's a piece of shit. He's not like a great guy.
But it kind of humanizes him.
But it humanizes him. He cares about his kid, that kind of thing. So he basically is taking orders from this little magical unicorn that's floating around him, and it leads him to saving his daughter.
You think the show's going to be like that? It's going to be like a detective-style show where we're an imaginary friend?
Well, it's really taking on the style of Grant Morrison. You can tell even by the promotion piece that they have.
Oh, the artwork where he's a bummed out. He's a really good actor, too.
Yes, he was, if you know Law and Order, he was in,
all of them, I think?
Special
Unit? Yeah, I think so.
Special Unit.
His name is Christopher Meloni?
Yeah.
And you know who voices the little puppet thing?
Yeah, Patton Oswalt.
And Patton Oswalt knows his comics.
Exactly.
He's a fan. He's always been a fan.
The promotional artwork says Silent Night, holy shit. That's you can tell just by that they're going in a different way. It is sci-fi, so they are able to curse and maybe push the envelope a little bit.
Is sci-fi really allowed to curse?
Yes.
Yeah, really? I haven't seen sci-fi in a while.
Yeah, sci-fi is doing a whole bunch of things. They're even gonna try to do that.
That's right, but it's the late night stuff. Like there's around the time where they put a little things like, okay, kids, this is for the grown-ups.
Exactly. So it's cool. I wonder how they're gonna squeeze multiple seasons out of 4 comics. But apparently Grant Morrison has been on the set and kind of been overwatching a lot of things and liking what he's seen.
Maybe it's one of those that if it gets a little hype, you'll write like another set of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Like between seasons, just try to catch up. Something like Kick-Ass?
Yeah. I wouldn't even try to do that, honestly. Yeah. What I'd have him do is be write for the show.
Okay. So
go ahead and
no more comics.
No more comics. Just expand what you want into the show, and you can do whatever you want. And he's like, great, fuck, I'm gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah, just give him the reins of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Make it as crazy as you want, and then we'll dial it back when we have to. But I mean, it sounds promising. I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm not really excited about a lot of things, though. I did finish the first season of Flash, which only took me about a year.
It's season 4 now? 4 or 5?
It's season 4, yeah.
But it looks good.
It does look
good. The promotion looks good. Hey guys, check it out. It comes out December the 6th on Sci-Fi. So, tell us if you're actually going to watch it. Look, I'll give it a shot. Not big of Grant Morrison fan, but I'll give it a shot. But on other news, Roman has a little bit more with the movies and stuff like that.
This is part concerning Marvel movies. This is from IGN, so you can look at their comic section. It says, after Avengers, Marvel Phase 4 will explore new places and times. So basically, Bob Iger, who's the Disney CEO, and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige spoke. We're looking for worlds that are completely separate geographically or in time from the worlds that we've already visited, Iger told Vanity Fair.
The worlds that the movies usually revolve in, it's like the Ultimate Universe, right? Like I seen Thor. No. I seen some of the Avengers and Thor, and the mixture of the Spider-Man where it's like, it feels like Miles Morales, but it's not. So it feels like Ultimate Universe.
That's the thing, is that they just kind of pick and choose what they want, and they just go with it. Because like the whole Winter Soldier thing, that's not Ultimate. Like
that's canon.
That's
canon.
Yeah, that's 616 is like the our Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, get that title.
So Marvel 616, like Civil War, even though the movie really had nothing to do with the comic, the Civil War was 616. So they kind of just pick and choose what they want. The Fury that we see was literally from the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Mark Miller, I should stop saying Millar. Mark Miller said that he just wanted Nick Fury to be played by Samuel Jackson in the comics, so that's what he told the artist to do.
Yeah.
Marvel thought it was a good idea. They put him as Nick Fury.
I remember that.
That's the whole thing. They kind of pick and choose. Now, what this is actually leading to, we don't know, because we know that next year is part 1 for the Infinity War. The Avengers Infinity War.
I could see like the whole stone thing be like scatter them.
Yeah.
Because I know they did that with Cap in the comics, didn't they?
It's a 2-parter.
Is it?
That's what we know. It's going to be Infinity War 1 and Infinity War 2. So there's going to be 2, it's going to be back-to-back years. So next year is going to be the first part. 2019 will be the second part, and then from there they're going to go on to a whole new phase.
What it sounds like is like all these OG actors that have been with Marvel from the get-go kind of want to get out of their contract, so this would be a like perfect chance to get new actors. Like, oh man, why is Iron Man not what's his name, the actor? Robert Downey Jr.
I was like,
yeah. So you're like, well, why isn't he Iron Man no more? So it's a different world, different time.
Exactly.
And they explain that way. Now it's perfect to go after the Thanos.
And what makes sense for Marvel to do is they've been doing it, and I will bring this up later when we do a review. How they just kind of mix mash. So I don't see it very unlikely that even the Falcon would become Captain America like after Phase 4.
You think they'll kill off Steve Rogers though?
I don't think they're gonna kill off everybody. I think they're just going to do like a displacement. So they're like, well,
like Oswald style.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the Earth still needs its Avengers and it still needs its heroes. So they're gonna explain it like they gave their lives. They've been missing in action.
Oh, they don't kill them off, but they do the whole Batman thing. They're scattered.
They're scattered,
and they're like, who's gonna pick up their mantle?
Exactly, and then like a Falcon picks up Captain America.
The new gen,
exactly,
which is the Marvel style word where it's like they can make Iron Man Riri. And
exactly.
Logan, the young girl that came out in the movie,
and then it'll kind of lead into their comics the way that they do so.
It's understandable.
I don't know if it's a great idea, but it's something.
It makes kind of sense, though. If you read Marvel, that's kind of what they do. Like,
I have a very big problem with that, but we'll get to it.
Okay. So the news is just that. Yeah. It's just like, okay, we're gonna after the Thanos movies, we're just gonna go spread out.
Yeah,
we're gonna look for new shit. All right, now you have another piece of news. A little bit. It's a really good read. It's actually one of the comics we're going to bring back.
Yes.
So go ahead and tell them what this is about.
All right, this is from CBR, so Comic Book Resources. Alan Moore's Watchmen feud with DC Comics explained. Now, this is going back to like everything that has gone on in Alan Moore's career with DC. It touches on a little bit like his Swamp Thing and how Watchmen wasn't... Alan Moore had basically planned Watchmen with totally different characters. Like the way they look. They have the same name. They might not even have the same names, but they were his own characters. DC was like, hey, we just got Charleston Comics, which was, Blue Beetle, Captain Marvel, things like that. Well, there's all these other characters like Dr. Manhattan, like Rorschach that are in that universe, but they were never really used. So they were saying, why don't you just use those? He said, fine. He did that. The contract that he had signed was basically if within a year's time, you'll get the rights back to Watchmen. You and Dave Gibbons, which was the artist on Watchmen, will get the rights back. No problem.
I'm guessing DC didn't expect it to be the blockbuster and sellout that it was.
Exactly. So DC said, basically, it was just like, we're going to find a way to finagle it. We're going to keep Watchmen, basically.
He's like, take seat back seats, it made him money.
Exactly. Yeah. And after a few, I think after a year he left, but he was just saying like, well, DC, you fucking hoodwinked me.
You screwed me. You screwed me good.
You screwed me. So now I'm never going to work for you again. Does not matter. I will never work for you again. But that's not necessarily true. Because during the 90s, he teamed up with like Rob Liefeld. Because Rob Liefeld had his own thing called Awesome Comics. Alan Moore was one of them. And through that, it led to Wildstorm with Jim Lee. Jim Lee had Wildstorm. And with Wildstorm, he published America's Best Comics and a series called Top 10, I believe. Well, shortly after they started that and he made his comics, DC bought out Wildstorm from Jim Lee, so they published basically America's Best Comics.
Yeah, so there, in other words, like you could work wherever you want, but we have the money to buy anybody out, and guess what? Once you sell your rights to them, once the comics are created, we could do whatever we want. You can't really do nothing about it.
Yep. So like the Tom Strong is a character from America's Best. He is owned by DC now, and he's probably gonna be in a new book that comes out after Metal and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, with the new Earth, the new Earth that comes out with the Static Shock and all that.
So he's gonna be in there. So that's another one of his characters. But the whole thing is, he basically, it goes into then the Before Watchmen stuff, which happened a few years ago. Before Watchmen was supposed to be books that took place before the actual Watchmen comic, kind of a little bit of an introduction to get you to read Watchmen.
Sort of like what they did with the Clockwork, where how they released the button of the Flash and Batman times. Like, we're going to give you this way before the actual comic comes out, so you get a taste of it. Yeah,
so like it was supposed to be just like read Watchmen, but read these Before Watchmen, and Alan Moore was super pissed about that. He even made statements where just like, look, if you want to buy these Before Watchmen books, don't bother buying anything more from me. I don't want you buying my comics.
Because it takes away from their story, from his story.
Yeah, exactly. Like all he really cares about, and he said it time and time again, I don't care about money. I just want the book to be as it is. I don't want you to fucking whore it out.
Well, people have said, I don't know if it's true, that The Watchmen is where you get the name graphic novel from.
Pretty much.
It's where the trade backs and people started taking comics a little bit more serious. They're like, oh man, you could actually have depth and like a great story with these comics. They're just not cartoons.
They could be grown up.
Yeah, they could be, and that's Watchmen is the reason things are called graphic novel. It is what's already. I know there's a lot of Watchmen stuff going around in the circuit right now because of the comic. Yeah,
and Mr. Moore probably won't be happy with me, but. It kind of just goes through that and how like the movies and how League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which was a terrible movie to be honest with you, but
I liked it.
You like that's all I gotta know.
It's one of those that you watch when it's on.
Yeah,
I know I bought the special collection edition too. So, but it's all a taste of movies.
Yeah, he said it was that movie represents nothing of what his comic book was like.
Oh yeah, if you haven't read the comic, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You read the comic, change the perspective of the characters, because they sell it more of a monster action movie.
Yeah.
And I heard I didn't read the comics. I heard the comics more in depth.
Yeah, the comic is more analytical in terms of like its characters, and there's a lot of different things, including like opium addiction and things like that in these books, more than was ever in the movie.
Yeah, but they were going for like
Yeah, and he has big problems with the Watchmen movie and everything that's been made from his comic books. He has a big problem with because
I don't think he wanted to whore out the way he did.
No, he didn't want them ever to be movies. He just wanted them to be literature that you can just pick up and you form your own opinions on things like that, which is respectable. I respect that.
Watchmen did win a lot of awards.
It continues to be. I think Time Magazine, and I have to check when they actually do this, but they do have a top 100 graphic novels every year, and Watchmen is consistently on that.
Yeah, it's like it's won awards. It's one of those things people be like, you want to read something good that's not just superheroes, but it gives you a way of thinking of like the world can be a little bit different and stuff like that. It's one of those you read. Yeah. But this article is really good. It's long, but it's very detailed of what Alan Moore is done and gone through.
It's 4 pages, and it's long in terms of like if it was one big page, but it's split up into 4 little pages, so you should be able to get through it.
It's a good read. I mean, you guys want to know a little history of the Watchmen and a little history of Alan Moore. It's a read. It's a good read.
Yes, sir.
But I think that's gonna be all the news we're gonna bring you right now. We're gonna get into some comics that we read. We're gonna start with.
We're actually going to start with Aquaman number 30, written by Dan Abnett and drawn by Stephen Sajak.
And these are just honorable mentions. They're just good reads, but not enough where we go into deep detail or our picks of the week.
Yes.
And we're starting with...
again, Aquaman number 30, written by Dan Abnett and drawn by Stephen Sajak. Now...
This comic's simple. It's simple. They found out that Aquaman is alive, and he's doing things with Dolphin Girl. If you guys have not read this comic is him trying to get back his throne.
Pretty much.
This is his rise of power. He's starting to get an army behind him and stuff like that. And that's all it is. It's just set up for stuff that comes next.
Well, they do introduce King Shark, which is not necessarily an Aquaman villain, but still pretty cool. And it has...
They're from the Suicide Squad?
Yeah. He's in there, and he and you wouldn't know it because it looks so much like a character that's been in the comics before, but it's very, very small hinted at that it's King Shark, and that
it's one of those, it's there but you don't know what it is.
Exactly. You don't know what's going on, why he's there, anything. It's just King Shark, and Mera has a big part to do with that. So.
Last time we saw Mera was just trying to break the wall because she sensed that he was alive.
Yep.
But yeah, pick it up. It's a good read. It's a good read that something good is coming down the way.
And next up we have Imaginary Friends. It's written by Tim Seeley and drawn by Stefan Molnar. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This one was weird.
This one is basically...
That's how I was like, it's vertical. It's weird.
It basically opens up with like a child being like killed or murdered because she was stabbed like 17 times. Then it goes to
specific number, right?
Exactly. So it goes to a psychiatric ward. It has to do with imaginary friends, and it's interesting in terms of like the imaginary friends sort of function like gods. If you don't believe in them, they're not real. So
I compare it to, have you guys ever watched, I think it's a 90s movie, Drop Dead Fred?
Yes.
It's exactly like this. The imaginary friends only work as much power you give. Think of them, Freddy Krueger. Yeah. If you believe in them, more power they get.
Exactly.
You don't believe in them, go away.
Yeah. So it's just interesting. The main character is in a psychiatric ward and gets pulled out, and you should read the comic just to see what goes on.
It's weird. It's different, but it'll give you some nostalgia if you hate old movies.
Yep. All right. And next, this is from last week, but we...
I'm pretty sure if we made the show last week, this would have been one of those top pick of the week kind of style.
This is Justice League number 33, written by Joshua Williamson and drawn by Tyler Kirkham and Michael Janin.
And this is going to be the last issue of
Bats Out of Hell.
Yeah, Bats Out of Hell. This is if you guys are reading the little, is it 4 issues?
Yes.
The little 4 issues run where the Justice League is going through their opposites of
their counterparts.
And they're like, okay, so how are we gonna get out of this? This comic is their fight back.
Yes.
Finally. Which it sucks because I know Metal's taking a break. And I was like, oh, you really gonna leave it like that? Really? Come on.
Yeah, it is taking a bit of a break. But it is very good. You find out something very different about the mother boxes. If you know, like Apocalypse, New Gods kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know, the mother boxes.
This is heavily focused on Cyborg.
Yes. So it is very good. Just go ahead and pick it up. We're not going to spoil anything else. Go ahead.
Cyborg mother boxes and a fight back of the good guys.
Exactly. Now, last up, again, this is from last week, but this is The Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, beautiful cover.
And it's written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Riley Rossmo.
This is just everything I wanted. Like, if what happens if Batman was the Joker, pretty much. He's like, the Joker sets up this thing where he finally breaks Bruce Wayne and turns him into a villain. Oh my God. If you ever read Batman, you know that he has plans for everything. And some of them could get pretty dark. And this one, they just let loose. Yeah. It's like, I got plans for everything, and you think you wreck one plan, I got many plans.
Oh, it's...
And it seems like a game. He's like, how do you want me to choose to kill you? Yeah. I have different ways because I found different weaknesses for all the superheroes.
It's very, very simple story, but it is very good. The way that you see how Bruce Wayne turns into the Batman Who Laughs, very, very easy to understand. And just simple. You just go ahead and go with it. And what this comic does that I like is, I don't like when you half-step crazy. Just go full on fucking crazy and I'm in. Like, don't half step crazy. Go full
don't
crazy.
Be like, oh, I'm gonna turn, but not really.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, I could be good again.
Exactly.
Nah, this is like, there is no way I could ever come back.
There is no redemption here.
Nope. And the stuff he does with his son, ooh,
it's really good.
I was like, damn.
It would have been my pick of the week last week.
It's good. That would have been. I think this would have been our pick of the week.
That's why I wasn't here last week, because we didn't disagree enough. That's why we weren't here last week.
That's why the life was like, nah, they're gonna start agreeing. Cut it. Put some shit in their way. But yeah, good read, guys.
Good read.
It's filled with Joker and what happens if Batman never goes crazy. But that's gonna be
it for honorable mentions. Yeah, we're gonna go into actual reviews now. So this is all this week, pretty much.
Yeah, this is pretty much. All this week.
First up, we have Action Comics 992, written by Dan Jurgens and drawn by Rob Williamson.
This is just Superman dealing with, okay, my dad's evil.
Pretty much. He's just trying to find the answers. He goes to different sources, including one of my favorite factions in the whole world, Green Lantern. Just to see different, to see if he's the only surviving Kryptonian, basically. And the very end is very, very cool. I'm just going to say the words cosmic treadmill. And the Flash. There is a superhero that's pretty much been absent for all of Rebirth. And it'll be funny when he shows up. So just go ahead and read it. It is very good. Don't want to give too much away.
Yeah. Just Superman dealing with nothing. Not everything's rainbows and sunshines, pretty much.
Speaking of not rainbows and sunshines, we're going to go on to Maxwell's Dream #1. This is written by Denez Camp and drawn by Victoria Stone. I
like the art style in this, the cartoonish Bobo style. Again, one of those, like the Imaginary Friends, one of those weird comics. But what'd you think of this?
I thought it was awesome. It is, again, one of those things, like, don't go half steps, go full step, go full crazy. Hold
back.
I am all in if you go full crazy. Don't give me half bullshit, and that's going to come up in some of the other reviews. But in this one, it's just full crazy. Little kid is just doing imaginary things, it's sort of hinted at that his mother has recently passed away and that his father is an alcoholic, trying to deal with that and trying to raise a kid. And he's imagining things. Through that imagination, things kind of come through a doorway. Some alien entity comes in, takes him on adventures, and then there's a twist. So that's all I'm going to say, because it's really well written, honestly.
It's one of those things that when life throws you shit, you need an escape. And sometimes you start playing pretend. What happens when pretend becomes real life?
Exactly. So it is.
The art's good, though. The art's weird. It's one of those,
the colors are on point. A lot of pinks, purples, a lot of weird, just
it's just to show the darkness and the weirdness of it. But, it's like, I like what they're doing in the comics. They're realizing that not much kids are reading these independent titles, so they're giving them full range. Like you said, no half-ass. All right, we found our readers, and they're going to be a little bit more grown. So you got to understand that they already know how the world functions, so you gotta give them something to be like, oh shit, just read this, just keep reading
exactly.
this. But good read, guys.
It is very good. Now, next up, we have Flash number 35, written by Joshua Williamson and Michael Mordecai, and drawn by Popman.
Popman?
Yeah.
Popman. All right.
Oh, it's I guess Popman. It's MAHN.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's one. Okay.
So
yeah.
Either way.
This is if you guys read Last Flash, you realize that someone came back, and she came back to help Barry, kind of
help in quotations,
because Barry was being poisoned by the negative, the negative Flash power,
the negative Speed Force.
Yeah, so she's like, I'm back to help you, and she's like, oh, she's a good guy. No, she's not a good guy.
Yeah,
but she did help him. It's one of those weird ones.
Sort of. All right. So what happens last issue is. There is a speedster from the very beginning of Flash Rebirth. If you've been reading since the beginning, a speedster comes back that they thought was dead and was able to cure Flash of the negative Speed Force that was killing him.
That was last episode.
That was the last
episode. Last issue.
That was last issue. But now this issue, she's turned. Apparently, she is a villainess, and there's something else that's interesting in here.
Think of her like a little voice in the back of her head.
Yeah, like who's really behind her coming back is very interesting.
Who's pulling the strings?
Exactly.
She's a puppet, and all puppets have a puppet master. Who is? You guys gotta read.
Yeah.
You read, because whoever that puppet master comes in, like a full page spread, and the art is crazy, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, if you know, I think it's Chinese. It could be Japanese. I believe it's Japanese. If you know, Japanese... folklore mythology gods, you'll know the name, and it kind of makes sense. It's really cool. It is a completely different character from what you'd expect from the myth, kind of like a Thor kind of thing. But it is really cool, and the ending is really the ending sets up the next issue so well because you don't know what's behind it.
Oh yeah, there's that phone call.
Yeah, there's a phone call and something.
I hate those endings where it's partial art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They leave you with a little cliffhanger. It's like, who can it be?
Exactly.
Kind of deal. But yeah, I like what they're doing with the Flash. Flash has been consistently one of those good reads.
Yes.
Because I like where they're going with the character. They're giving him so much challenges and questioning everything that he has stand for. So I want to see what happens.
Yep.
You know what? Is this gonna set up that Flash thing? The little Flash event that's coming out?
It's possible that this is setting up little things for Flash War.
Yeah,
so,
right, okay. So
I think who's pulling the strings might really be involved with Flash War. Anything else in this comic is going to be wrapped up in a few issues.
Yeah. So it's coming up to the event. Yeah. Well, I mean, DC has so many events going on, and they're really good though.
Yeah, they are, and that's the thing that I'm finding with DC is just put out quality stories and I'll read them.
Yeah.
And you'll see that in my pick of the week, but. First up, we have Tony's pick of the week.
Yeah, that was it for just regular reads. All right, we're gonna get into more depth and be our pick of the weeks.
Yes.
And I'm gonna start with my boy
Punisher number 218, written by Matthew Rosenberg and drawn by Villanova or Guyu.
Names, man. So we don't mean to butcher your names.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't know. It's Guiu. Guyu.
Let's just go with Goo.
Goo? I'm sorry if that's not your name.
I mean, I doubt you guys watching this.
Yeah,
but
you'll never listen to this.
We don't mean to butcher your name, but you know.
Either way, Punisher 218, take it away.
All right. So in this one, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but like you see the cover. All right, Punisher gets War Machine armor. And it's just because Nick Fury needs his help.
Yes.
Nick Fury is like, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s gone. I have no one. I can't trust no one. But I know bad things are still happening. And I need someone of your caliber. And usually what that means that I need you to get rid of someone.
You get a bang bang.
Or a couple of someone.
Yeah.
And I love it because, meanwhile, during the whole comic, Punisher's like, no. Yeah. I can't trust you. There's a way I could trust you. And like, I don't do this. But then Nick Fury kind of holds like you're gonna like this.
You have a soft spot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna expose that soft spot.
Yeah.
And there is a bigger thing that you might like.
So the best thing, I mean, it's action packed, of course, because he has to go through all these things to get the armor. That's on the spokes, right in the cover. But the face they draw on Frank Castle when he opens the room where the War Machine suit is the best thing ever. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna do some damage to this.
And
It's like, it's not a big read. It's not a big read. But it's setting up to have something great. Like, what happens if you give someone that doesn't give a fuck full armor of death?
Exactly.
And I always like that. I always like that with Punisher, he is the human of Marvel. And he is like a weapons master.
Yeah.
So what happens when you give him the ultimate weapon? And I love it. I love it. I love all of this. I want to continue reading it. I hope it doesn't let me down like always. But that's easily what it is. It's just a setup of Punisher gets the ultimate weapon. What's he going to do with it? And Nick Fury's like, that's going to be mine when we're done with the mission. He's like, nah.
He literally just says, fuck that.
Yeah, he's like, nah. You shouldn't,
I mean...
you can't give him candy. You shouldn't do it. But yeah.
It's
not wordy. It's action packed, but it's setting up to something where I think it's gonna be great. If you guys like the Punisher, all right. If you like the Punisher, where has not much to do with the military, because I know the show came out and people believe that Frank Castle is all military and like anti-government and all that. No, Frank Castle is a little bit of everything. He's a mercenary.
Yeah,
he's a mercenary, and you give him a mission, target, he's gonna go get it.
My only problem with it's a fine comic. It's for me, it's just kind of a step back from what Becky Cloonan was doing with the character beforehand. It's kind of
you mean like how much depth they give him, more character development.
Yeah, they're kind of just like, okay, playing on the same old soft spot, and you're a killing machine. That's all you're and. Okay, I understand that's what they want for Punisher. That's what they're gonna do. That's completely fine. My point of contention is, why does it have to be John Barenthal that's the fucking Punisher in this goddamn comic? And you might say, but Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. No. They explain that, and even I don't like the explanation, but I don't like that he's just... I
don't know if you noticed in Marvel Comics, I saw that too. I was like, this is not the Frank Castle.
I hate it. I don't
you
like
can tell right off the expression. It's like they're trying to make the actor into the Punisher.
Yes, it's literally the same fucking guy.
But if you notice all Marvel's comics, the characters are starting to look like their movie counterparts. Like Thor.
I hate
Thor's starting to look like Chris Weather.
I hate it. I don't like it.
For a while, Wolverine looked like what's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Jackman, and they're like, why are you doing that? The art was great before. You want the characters, you want the actors to look like the characters, not the characters to look like the actors.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like if you guys are a fan of the Punisher, you have seen him that he doesn't have that whole squareness with the nose and everything. And you read this and you're like, yep, they're trying to put the actor in there.
Yeah, I just don't like that. Even like the pun, like you can kind of bring up an argument with Nick Fury, like, oh, it's the same thing. It is, but I'm still kind of mad about that because that was
the Nick Fury thing was before the movies even came out.
Yes, but not in this universe. That's the thing.
Oh, this not in canon. Yeah.
Marvel basically said, like, find a way to fucking work Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, and they're like, okay, he has Nick Fury has had a black girlfriend and she gave birth and he's Nick Fury, but you never heard about him ever, and there was no mention of any of this. And why does he have why does he have a cybernetic eye just like Nick Fury did?
Cool
it's just like, no, why can't they just let things be? But I understand, I know why they do it. It's just, I'm not a big fan of that. That's all.
In the Marvel canon, in our universe, there is a white Nick Fury. He's old.
Not anymore.
And the more that's right. They killed they killed him off in that event. Yeah. So then they crossed. That's not
even crossover.
No. I'm talking about when Nick Fury went.
Yeah.
When he destroyed the Ultimate Universe.
Exactly.
The Ultimatum. Sorry.
So like that was the whole thing. It's just like you shoehorned him in just so that you can have it that way, and then you're doing the same thing with Punisher, and I just. Little things like this bother me, even though it probably won't bother anybody else. It's just me as a longtime comic book fan. I just want the comic books to be the comic books. I don't want the movies and TV shows to influence the comic books. I want the comic books to influence everything else.
You know what it is, though, right? We've been saying all of this because we have this comic show. We're thinking of ways to advertise and to get, views out there. But what I've realized after doing research and stuff, a lot of people don't care about comics. The floppies, right? What a lot of people care about is the comic world, which is the TV shows, the cartoons, and the movies. Which from them you have all the new age of kids, the grown-ups that they thought they knew the comics. What they do is go watch these movies. And then right after it's like, oh man, that was such a great character. I want a little bit more. They can't wait for the second season or the third movie, so they go to the comic shops and they buy that character alone. And what happens when you buy a comic and your character is not the same as the one you think from the movies? You don't buy anymore.
Exactly.
You get upset. You're like, this is not our Nick Fury. It's not our Frank Castle. It's not our Deadpool.
I get it.
So what Marvel does is like, we want the money.
But my problem with it is, if your core, and the core being comic books, because none of the TV shows, movies, conventions, all that, it wouldn't be without comics. Without the comic. And if you don't have a strong comic core, if you don't set up like this is comics, then everything starts kind of unraveling. And you can kind of see it with Marvel.
You can already see it. Yeah, you've seen the conventions.
Yeah,
are
exactly.
Like the vendors for the comics were used to be the whole floor. It used to be the show. Get a little corner.
Yeah.
You have great artists and great writers have like one panel, and it's small in like an off room. But the main stage, you have all these actors be like, I worked hard to be, Thor, and have you seen my workout routine?
I read one comic and a full dossier on this character, and
it's that one comic about the kind of tying into the movie and shit like that.
It's just like Marvel. You can tell it kind of. I would say from a comic standpoint, is kind of unraveling, and they are just kind of making sure that Disney is happy with them making their movies and them kind of feeding each other. That's what it is.
Marvel isn't a comic company no more. It's an entertainment company.
Exactly. So it's...
DC always said we're going to hold to our fan base. Our true fan. And you see DC, they have like one big Hollywood convention. There's like, usually the New York one. They're like, but the floor is about the writers. And writers are like, okay, we're going to give whatever movie we had out.
And what I like that DC does is it, for the people that do like the TV shows, which are a big thing for them, they have comics that are specifically using the character likeness of the actors.
They make their own issues off.
Yeah, and they're making their own issues, and they're making their own comics. That's fine. If you want those people to buy those, then give them those. But if these people are like, well, what is Barry?
It's like TV show.
Exactly.
Like Green Arrow.
Exactly.
Like the Deathstroke they put in that Green Arrow is not my Deathstroke.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a TV Deathstroke.
But it's a TV Deathstroke. You're gonna find similarity there. And if you're like, well, if you go into a comic shop, you see that, you're like, oh, okay, I like the TV show, and you're like, oh, but I don't like those comics. And they're like, oh, well, they actually make a comic that's kind of based around the TV universe that you like. So you can go ahead and check this out. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll read that instead.
And you know what happens, though? What I've witnessed, because I'm usually in the comic shops on weekends and shit.
Yeah.
The people that buy the comics off their show, they're like, oh man, this is such a cool character. What else is there? They're like, then they get into the stuff.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, okay, the show stuff is cool, but I want the more seriousness, the more backstory and stuff like that. So they start buying, the original stuff. But, Marvel does what Marvel does.
Yeah.
We kind of went off topic.
We did.
Punisher, great read, action-packed. He gets the War Machine suit. And I want to see what happens with him. We're going to get into Roman's pick of the week. And, oh my God, this was sold out hours after it came out. It was so much damn hype behind it. You're like, guy, I gotta get it, wake up and actually go get it. And they did a couple of covers, and those extra covers kind of sold out quick.
Yeah.
You had TV spotlights, you had trailers for it. You had like, oh man, you guys like this? gotta pick this up.
Yeah, you had just banners on websites about this. You had some TV spots, even local TV spots that we have here in San Antonio. They were talking about it. It is Doomsday Clock #1, written by...
finally here.
Exactly.
It's the reason metal fucking stopped halfway.
Probably.
I read a little article. It's like, okay, we can't have competitive, big events.
Yeah, competing events.
Because you don't want metal to be like, nope, didn't sell this week.
Yeah.
Or people not writing it because they want to save their money and buy this.
Exactly.
So, of course, metal took a break. So you guys could get hooked on both of them.
Yes. So it's Doomsday Clock #1, written by Jeff Johns and drawn by Gary Frank. Now, for starters, one of my favorite writers and one of my favorite artists. So already, chocolate peanut butter is going good, right? This, Alan Moore is going to be mad at me, but fuck you, you'll listen to this anyway. Alan Moore does not like me. And the reason being is because I like this comic, actually. It's explaining everything. DC has had a problem with their old universe, then to New 52, then to Rebirth. They kind of just jumped, and there was no explanation.
Yeah, well, they're just like, it happened.
Exactly. Now they're retroactively doing that with a set of characters that is beloved. I mean, the Watchmen characters and Watchmen itself is a beloved comic franchise. The characters are, great. Now, what they're doing with this is Jeff Johns has kind of found a way to kind of bleed everything in. To make the Watchmen characters into our universe and how that's affected everything.
You guys read a lot of theories and of fan stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, this is how they're going to explain the timeless.
Exactly. And this is pretty much the start of it. But what I like about this comic that didn't happen with the Before Watchmen is you can tell Jeff Johns really is trying to take care of these characters and trying to take care of kind of the legacy of what Watchmen bring.
He's trying to take care of Alan Moore's legacy.
Exactly.
Not what DC's did.
But he's still trying to do the same. He's still trying to abide by DC, but still like saying like, look,
showing the respect.
Exactly. Showing respect and I mean, to be honest with you, it's respect that is well
deserved.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the words just because I like Watchmen a lot. It's one of my favorite comics, and this is kind of in the same vein. If you notice, in this cover, it's a bit different, but they have the original cover, which is, if you know Watchmen, it's the picket sign that says the end is nigh or the end is here. It's if you know anything about Watchmen, all the covers for Watchmen are the first panel in every story. And they're also sort of mirrored in some way towards the end. Now, it doesn't do it towards the end here, but it is in the first story. And what this is it's pretty much a direct sequel to Watchmen. It's telling you 4 years later what happened after the alien exploded in Manhattan. And
the squid monster.
Yeah, the squid monster, as some people call it, the vagina monster.
Yeah.
But it takes place after that. There is Rorschach, which if you're at the end of Watchmen, you're kind of saying, what the fuck? Because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because if you guys haven't read Watchmen, Rorschach kind of went kapooey.
Yeah.
Dust particles.
Exactly.
And people were afraid that what they were going to do to the characters. Like, oh man, please don't change the timeline stuff. But
they found a way to work in a new Rorschach. And there's some very funny parts. He's basically, you don't know who he's working for until midway through the comic, but he's trying to get one person out of prison. She will not go unless she goes with her husband. Her husband is a brand new character, which is really funny. His name is called the Mime. And he kills people like sort of a mime. He doesn't talk. He's just super violent. And there's a very funny part where she's like, and this is what I appreciate. There's a dark humor in Watchmen, and there's a dark humor that you wouldn't expect in an actual DC comic. And he's bringing that in here. And I think it's just because Jeff Johns is like, fuck, I'm going to do what I want. You can't fire me. So he's making, there's a funny joke where she says, like, my husband won't leave without his weapons. And Rorschach's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, what do I care? And he's like, I'm not going with you unless I bring him, and he's not going unless he gets his weapons. So he's like, fine. And they go to a locker, and they open it, and he goes, must be picked clean. And they just have a panel of the mime smiling, and he's grabbing into the empty locker, and he's just like suiting up. So I was just like, oh, okay, that's completely in character. It's funny because he has like the clown kind of makeup around his mouth, and it's blood. So pretty fun. It's really cool stuff. I'm not going to spoil who's pulling the strings and why that character is pulling strings. But
you say it's a true, it's an honest and true sequel to The Watchmen?
It seems like it until the very end. The very end makes sure that it's a DC comic and how it's actually involved in Rebirth. But it is very, very good. Just the tone in it is just spot on. Yeah. It's exactly what it would be.
Which is interesting because I was wondering. I was like, okay, this is coming. Mm-hmm. How they're gonna tie DC into it? Like our DC character, which is the Holy Trinity, which is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah. It's like how are they gonna tie at least them to the Watchmen and Dr. Manhattan? Because Dr. Manhattan himself, he's like a god. Mm-hmm. So I was like, how do you put that? So you're not gonna be disappointed. Actually, before we started the show, I was asking all these questions. It's like, that's what a comic's supposed to do.
Exactly.
You're supposed to read, like, you think they're going to do this? Or you think it's possible that this is what happened and everything? It makes you question the years. It makes you question the comics that came before. Does that. And I was like, okay, yeah, wordy, and I'm not the wordy guy and the whole setup and the whole stuff like that. But it's good. It makes you want to read the second issue. I guess the hype was real for this one.
Yeah, the first issue is very promising. And it's also dedicated to Len Wein, which I believe was the editor-in-chief at that time. So when the time of Watchmen. So it's really cool just to see that. And just like Watchmen, Watchmen at the very end of every comic has like these kind of newspaper articles clipped out, and they're integral to the story. Yep. This is no different. So pay attention to those. There's going to be something in there that's going to be different.
So it reads like the Watchmen.
Yes.
But it's like a whole of DC Comics.
It has literally DC makes an appearance in the last like 2 or 3 pages, but other than that, it's a Watchmen.
Of course, it's going to be 12 issues, I think.
It's going to be 12 issues. That's right.
So you have to kind of set up like, okay, this is their world. Here we are. How do they kind of?
Yeah, you know and the this is just one of the covers. They give you little thumbnails or full page ads actually for what the second issues, third issues are going to look like, and they have integral DC characters.
Yeah, so what we suggest with this comic, and I hate that this has to be done, is like either get a sub box or make sure to be there when the doors open.
Yes.
Because something tells me these are going to be flying off the shelves. Yes. Just like the metal stuff, like the one shots, it was hard to find some of them.
Yes.
If you don't have them in your sub box, or you don't have someone be like, hey man, can you go pick this up for me day of, it's going to be hard to get.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with these comics, you miss one issue, you're going to miss a lot. So if you guys want to, and it's kind of comics you like to read, I suggest you pick them up day of or put them in your sub box.
And yeah,
but that's gonna be it for the floppies. All right, and what we want is for you to tell us what you're reading, what you pick up every week. Do you like what they're doing with Watchmen and the Doomsday Clock? You like what Marvel's doing with all their characters? You think is it unraveling? You think it's like, oh man, I hate the TV characters are part of the comics now. Yeah. So let us know in the comments. You could always go to YouTube and we read all the comments.
Yes.
Right. You can always follow us on our social media. We have a little bit of everything. We have Instagram. We have Twitter. We have Facebook. Just go ahead and drop a comment there. Just put comics. Tell us what you're reading. Tell us if you like what there's going on. And if not, you could go old school.
Yeah, if you want to send us an email, if you don't have a YouTube and can't leave a comment, go ahead and send us an email at citypod88@gmail.com. And that's again, citypod88@gmail.com. And go ahead and the title, just put comics.
Yeah, so what we can do now, we're going to try to sell you on this trade back.
Yeah.
It's weird because you don't think video games make good comics. But Udon and Who was it? Who does the Darkstalkers? Udon does it too.
Udon does Darkstalkers as well. But yeah,
I like that. I like that. And this is gonna be
Street Fighter Legends Sakura, and this is written by Kim Soo-jong, Chong, and Omar Dogan.
This is like second series because there's a Street Fighter trade back in comics that came before that.
Yes.
And introduces kind of Sakura in the other one. And introduces as Ryu as her master.
Yes.
She wants to be like Ryu. She wants to teach. So what Ryu does is tell her, you have to find your way. And I'm gonna tell you how I did it. You found opponents. You learn from different fighters. You know, you kind of want to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And learn experience. So Sakura returns to Japan. She's like, who am I gonna find?
Yeah.
And it's comical because she's a teenage girl.
Yes.
And she is a girl. So many martial artists don't take her as serious. But she has strength. But there's a lot of great Street Fighter characters in it.
Yes.
You have E Honda. You have Karen. You have the funniest dude in Street Fighter, Dan Hibiki. And it's all it is. It's quick. It's just that it's the first book, and it's Sakura returning to Japan and finding all these fighters.
Yeah.
Trying to learn and grow from it.
It's not very wordy. It's very it's a lot of it is told by the artwork, and trust me, the artwork is beautiful.
Oh, the Udon always hits the artwork. It's great because you get the characters right in.
That art house is awesome. Every time that they do something for Street Fighter, I love. Even if I don't necessarily find the stories all that good, but I like Sakura as a character. She was in one of my favorite games, Street Fighter 3, and she made it all the way until the end of Street Fighter 3. She came out in 4, right? She was in Super. Yeah, she was in Super Street Fighter 4, and she's coming back in Part 5, right?
They kind of hint on.
They're kind of hinting.
What they do with the video games, if you guys don't know, is that they give you little blank, silhouettes. And like, who can it be? And they give you like little teasers. They think that she might be coming back. Yeah. And it's good. If you guys like Street Fighter, you're gonna love these things because the art's great and it revolves around her character. You like Sakura, right? But it's a coming of age. It's her trying to find her way into martial arts. Yeah. It's good. It's a simple read. It's one of those. Okay, I like it. It's one of that. Just that. It's simple, fun, and you have time to spare and read something. Pick it up.
Yeah, and her friend makes an appearance. Who's the ninja? She uses a kunais.
Oh, I'm so bad with names.
Ibuki.
Yeah.
Ibuki's in there, and they.
If you guys know Street Fighter, you know the House of Women is Karen, Ibuka, Armika shows up, and herself, and it's just fun. And there's a hot dog eating contest. I don't know why it's in there.
It's kind of phallic, but either way, it is fun. It is just a very fun read if you like Street Fighter and want just a little more in terms of specific characters. Legends are kind of one shots in terms of that. But there's also the Street Fighter series.
Oh, there's a lot of Street Fighter comics. A lot of trade backs. And they're all good. But like I said, if you like this character, and I do, and that's the reason we pick it up. Yeah. But that's it, guys. We're gonna get you to tomorrow's comics.
Yes, sir.
What he does is he's give you the big two, Marvel, DC, right? Of course, because they own the comic world. And then he kind of gets everything else. All the indies and Image and everything like that, and he puts them in a small list that you guys think you should be reading, or he thinks that you should read.
Yes.
Go for it.
All right, so coming out tomorrow for Marvel, America number 9, Dark Hawks 151. I'm sorry, 51. I had an extra one. Jean Grey number 9, Legacy of Marvel previews December 2017. There is going to be Mighty Captain Marvel 125 second print if you're interested in that. It looks like Moon Knight is continuing. It's Moon Knight 189.
Yeah, they picked it up. I know 2 episodes ago?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, we saw, he's like, oh, we don't know if it's going to get picked up. I know the singer from...
Say Anything.
He's like, okay, we give you like one shot style. It's like, oh, it's going to... They actually picked him up.
Yeah, so it was interesting enough. Yeah. So let's see where he goes. After that, it is Old Man Logan number 31. And Secret Warriors number 9. Spider-Gwen number 26. Star Wars Jedi Republic Mace Windu number 4. Star Wars Poe Dameron number 21. U.S. Avengers number 12. Venom 158. And X-Men Blue number 16.
Not a big list for Marvel, but
yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, the only one that I really want to maybe check out is Moon Knight.
I know Old Man Logan was he was hit and miss. Mm-hmm. Maybe Venom, but
we'll see.
Let's get to the DC stuff.
That's where fucking this is a short week for DC too. It's just a short week all around. I guess after
it's the end of the month and the holidays.
Yeah. It's the 5th week. Yeah, we always said 5th week is always going to be a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. So with DC we have Aquaman Annual number 1. Looks interesting. It looks like Batman Annual number 2. Batman Creature of the Night number 1. That should be interesting. If you missed some reprints, Batman the Devastator number 1 is the 2nd printing. Batman the Red Death number 1 is the 3rd printing.
Just like we said, those things are hard to get, so they're reprinting, which I hate. I hate because it drops the value of it, and
sort of because.
But that's just being greedy.
Well, not really, because if you do happen to get a first print, they're always going to be worth a little more, unless the 2nd print has a different cover and is extremely low run. Some of the Batman Hush stuff that was going on, some of the 2nd prints are actually worth more because they were different covers and very, very limited. So very rarely will the 2nd and 3rd print be more, but the 1st print will always be there. Again, if you didn't have a chance to get a 1st print and you're not much of a collector, go ahead and get 2nd and 3rd printings just so you can see.
If you're not a collector or a comic snob, I heard that's a thing.
Yeah, I'm a comic snob.
Pick them up because they're good reads. Mm-hmm. There's a reason they're getting 2nd and 3rd printings.
Yes, because they are being heavily demanded. Dark Days, The Forge, and the Casting Director's Cut, number 1.
You know they made Director's Cut for comics.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
They have Director's Cut. A lot of the times, it's the full comic. A lot of the times, they'll do it in black and white, which is really weird. But they'll do that, and they'll have like full scripts of them, and they'll have like extra scenes maybe that they cut out do the editorial.
Okay, yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
All right.
Let's see. Gotham. That is a trade back. I don't know what that's under. Green Arrow Annual number 1.
Like this is all annuals for DC this time, huh?
Pretty much, except for Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 33.
Oh, I know that was the.
This is The New Epic Begins, Twilight of the Guardians, Part 1. So,
okay.
That should be pretty cool. Justice League 2 Annual number 1. Like I said, annuals are Justice League of America Annual number 1.
Alright.
Mystic U number 1, which looks like it has Zatanna. I'm in.
Oh, the Mystic Universe. It's like the Dark Universe. I guess it's like whatever runs off it.
I'm down.
Hey, I love the magic stuff. So
I love Zatanna. New Talent Showcase 2017 number 1, and Super Sons Annual number 1. So again, 5th week gonna be always small, and apparently we're getting a lot of annuals out the way.
Yeah, but the annuals are good though. It kind of recaps everything. It gives you a little bit of what's coming up in the future.
Yeah, and now for indies, like we said, we compressed the list into a finite list of things that you might like. Black Magic number 9.
Okay.
BPRD Devil You Know number 4.
I didn't think it was gonna be a continuum, but it's really good though.
Yeah. I think it's up to I think he's planning 5, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right. I think so. So Trinity number 2. Jim Henson's Labyrinth 2017 Special number 1. Just add that because I like Labyrinth. Yeah. John Wick number 1.
I want that. I've been waiting for that. So I've been seeing the advertisement. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, looks pretty good. Kill or Be Killed number 14. Lazarus Cross plus 66 number 5. Manifest Destiny number 32. Rick and Morty number 32. Spawn 280.
Spawn 280 I think is issue 1. I mean, issue 1 of a series, right?
Let's see.
Because I know Time McFarlane was like, okay, I think he was going to start writing again for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. This is not written by him, but it does have 2 different writers. But this is the synopsis. Death, destruction, and deception. Spawn piles Spawn piles as much pain as he can in his attempt to protect a young girl who very shortly will be a new superhero, much stronger than Spawn
That's
himself.
what it was. Tom Fine was saying he made a new villain like 2 issues before. And he's like, I'm gonna make a new hero.
Oh,
and he's
okay.
like, I'm gonna give him a better than Spawn. Is it like Spawn though? Did she make contact with the devil too? Is Spawn gonna die out? I know the Spawn movie's coming out. I'm getting that one. Okay, I'm sorry. I got all excited because I like Spawn.
I will give it a shot. I haven't read a Spawn comic in probably 10 years, but
If you guys don't know, Facebook, Tom McFarlane does how to draws.
those are really cool.
They're really cool, and before he does, he kind of talks comics. And Spawn, he has so much plans for Spawn coming up. I was
That's
like,
cool.
okay.
I mean, probably about 2 years, and you're gonna have you're gonna have Spawn 300, so that might bring something new.
Yeah, I know the movie's coming, and he's writing it. Him and Kevin Smith. He's either writing,
I
and
know-
Kevin Smith is producing.
I know Kevin Smith was writing the Sam and Twitch. There's
The TV show. The TV show.
It's gonna be in
and
the-
Tom McFarlane's doing the movie. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a BBC America or possibly just straight BBC, but it's gonna be Sam and Twitch. Whether that's gonna happen,
You guys don't
he
know
doesn't say.
they're the detective dudes from the Spawn comic.
Yeah, and those I actually kind of like. They're actually Bendis wrote those.
Yeah.
He wrote like some of the first Twitch, Sam and Twitch.
And Kevin Smith has
stuff
done some
like
pretty decent stuff with TV.
Yeah.
I know he does a lot of the Supergirl, and I've seen the Flash episodes that he's done. They're very good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But speaking of Street Fighter, as we were, Street Fighter Reloaded #1. So new #1 if you want to get into the Street Fighter stuff.
Yeah,
and check out that Udon artwork. You're not gonna hate that Udon artwork.
I know, because I know Dark Soccer vs. Street Fighter is coming to an end soon. And I think this is
Just so happens to be Street Fighter versus Dark Soccer #7
Yeah.
is up next. Sword of Ages #1. This is one that you should really be on the lookout for. It's written, drawn, everything by Gabriel Rodriguez. If you don't know that name, it's because you haven't read one of the best comics that I really like called Lock and Key. He's the artist for Lock and Key. So he has a really, really cool art style, and he could change that up anytime he wants. But he has a great art style, and he was a co-creator on Lock and Key, so he knows a few things about writing.
He's one of those weird, good mystery, horror kind of deals.
Yeah, it's written by Joe Hill, which is Stephen King's son. It is one that we might possibly do a graphic novel review on because it is one of my favorites. But rounding out the list for Indies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters 2, #5.
Nice.
And there we go.
Oh man, I can't wait for Ninja Turtles come on and Injustice too.
Yeah, they look really
And all
cool.
this Street Fighter talk kind of makes me want to go play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Because I know he's season the Capcom Cup is coming, and me and him are fan of video games, right?
Yeah. I have a channel that I just play video games on, but the reason I'm so good at video games, right? The reason I'm so good at what I do, even though nobody watches it, is because I have Fade grips. I do have Fade grips, joystick grips. They are great, especially for things like first-person shooters where you need a little more precision with, headshots, kind of things like that. You're going to want those.
You have to have that little thumb.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes your thumb kind of jerks a way that you didn't want it to. So the grips are going to take care of that. And the way you do that is by going to fadegrips.store. You can get a 20% discount on your whole order by using our promo code Grimworks. That's capital GRIMMWORKS. So 20% off of that. I always say to get the Pro/Glow mystery box. I know that he just introduced a mystery box that can be anywhere from $5 to $65. You kind of pick the price range. You can get a discount on that if you use a promo code. Yeah. And you can get a full gift like that. But like
Christmas
I said,
is coming around.
Exactly.
All those gamers, they're goody, they're stuffing stalkers, and I mean, it's not just the thumb things. There's something we call the controller condoms.
They're controller covers.
With kids or just sweaty hands. Controllers kind of end up getting either roughed up or dirty.
Yeah.
Why not protect
Especially
them? I mean, they're expensive.
They are.
They're like what, $60-something?
They're about the price of a video game, yeah.
Yeah,
for a new controller.
You know, instead of keep buying on controllers, buy on these condoms. They're like $8.
Yeah.
With our discount code, you get them for cheaper.
That's right.
And you have a controller that will last because they're made out of that latex rubber. So if they fall, they have something to bounce off.
They're gonna take a lick and keep on ticking. But again, go to fadegrips.store, use our 20% discount code Grimworks, capital GRIMMWORKS.
But you know what? I want to thank you for watching.
Yes.
I know these things kind of tend to run a little bit long, and then the new generations like make them shorter. But when you have a conversation of something you actually like, it kind of goes a little bit longer.
I fought you a long time, like we should make them shorter, and now I just kind of like, it's as long as it has to be. I like talking about comics. I don't get the opportunity to talk comics all the time, and I'm glad I have somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be weeks, like maybe next week's going to be short. We're going to be like, all right, run through them. But there's weeks like, there's some really good comics, and you want to talk about what you like. You just want to see both sides of it. But again, thank you for watching. Want to see you next week.
Later, dudes.